the first day on the job for David Calhoun. David Calhoun steps in to a difficult job. This is the job of helming Boeing as it tries to deal with the 737 MAX jet crisis. Of course, we've talked very extensively recently about the tragedy in Japan. It also affected a Boeing jet. However, the world knows now that that jet was mistakenly shot down by Iranian authorities. The 73 MAX jet situation is completely different. It is widely believed that a problem with navigational software caused the downing of 2 of those aircraft. 346 people, the overwhelming death toll from those crashes. Dennis Muhlenberg was the prior CEO. He was heavily criticized for his inability to steer the company in the right direction. His relationship with regulators had grown very, very negative. So Dave Calhoun steps into the job today. What kind of leader do you think Boeing needs at this point?
Yeah, I think the brand. So I saw an interview this morning on the U.S. side with Mr. Calhoun, and he was talking about how the brand won't get built by press releases, and it's not going to get built. It's going to get built by people feeling that they can be on that plane again. And he said himself, "I'm going to get on this plane. My kids are going to get on this plane. We will rebuild this brand, and we're going to get there. And I swear, I promise, I vow to you," something like that. He was saying that we are going to get there. And we're going to get on that plane. Definitely need leadership. I think he's saying the right things, Paul. The question is, this stock is now down 25%, I think, from its high, 420 or something like that. 440, I think the high was. So they've got a long way to go, and to regain the trust when we're talking about 346 people. He's right. He's saying the right things, but they need to do it.
He's got a big job to do, seemingly, with his own workforce. There have been a series of releases of internal emails which have shown a great deal of cynicism among Boeing employees about the way that aircraft was designed, the way it was brought to market.
Yeah, they had staff saying, when the papers were released, that they wouldn't even get on the plane, saying that it was, supervised by monkeys or something like that was one of the comments that came out. You don't want to see that. As a CEO, you definitely want to go. You don't want to see that. Those were released in December, I believe, but only kind of released to the public late last week. It's really not good to see that when your own employees are mocking your own plane and your own brand. So he really needs to do a turnaround here, and it's not just speaking. But he's starting off on the right foot here for a first day. It's probably what I would do too if I was CEO.
The third of our big 3 topics is an event that is set for Wednesday in Washington. The White House has invited 200 people to a January 15th ceremony to witness the signing of the Phase 1 trade agreement, excuse me, between the U.S. and China. Details not available yet on what that Phase 1 deal is going to include, but Larry Kudlow, a senior economic advisor with the U.S., telling Fox Business yesterday the deal is virtually complete. This is something the market has been locked in on for a while. Yeah,
nobody wants to short this market until this trade deal happens, and even this Phase 1 trade deal. How many times have you reported here that we were close to a Phase 1 deal, and it's happening, it's coming, and then something happens, it falls through, or we're not quite in agreement. And I will believe this when I see it, Paul. I'm of that view right now. I'm in the show me state with respect to this here. Show me the deal.
It certainly sounds like the Trump administration is going to have to get this Phase 1 deal without any kind of sweeping change on, for instance, intellectual property theft, which from the beginning of these tense negotiations has been a real line in the sand for the Trump administration. Yeah,
and it looks like they're going to back down from that, allegedly, I guess, according to the reporting that we're reading. There's how many different CEOs have been pressuring President Trump to make this happen and to move that line in the sand, and it looks like, whether or not, it looks like he's going to move from that post, Paul.
That is Rob Tétrault. He's our guest host, and those are our top 3 stories. Coming up, it happens every year. The third week in January is when the holiday bills start rolling in, and for many Canadians, panic sets in. When we come back, Patty Levitt-Reid has some words of warning and some advice to calm that panic. That's next.